Hello my dears, and welcome back to My Main Stitches. This is Jeannie J. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to open the pattern envelope and talk about the four major parts of the guide sheet. They are the pattern pieces, the general directions, cutting layout, and the sewing directions. So hopefully you've by now gotten a chance to pick up your pattern. You know, we're working with Simplicity pattern number 1504 to do those pajama pants. On the back of the envelope, they'll always have the illustration of the different items that are in the pattern. Ours is listed here as item C for pajama pants. That item letter will correlate to the letter on your guide sheet. So inside of every pattern envelope, you'll have two things. You'll have a bundle or two of tissue paper that has all of your pattern pieces on there. And you know, you'll cut out the ones that correlate to letter C. I think those are 9 through 15, right? And then the other thing in every pattern envelope is the guide sheet, okay? So just to go over briefly the four main sections, let me get the page 1 up for you to see. How's that? So you'll have again an illustration of all of the items inside of that pattern, and then there'll be an illustration of all of the pieces to those items. This is a smaller or a simple pattern, so you don't see a lot of pieces listed. In fact, our pieces are again item numbers 9 through 15 for item C, the pajama pants. Okay, so next you'll see general directions, and that will tell you helpful tips on how to make pattern adjustments, how to line your grain line up on your fabric with the pattern pieces. And for now, just know that grain line is thought of as the direction of your threads and the direction of your prints on your fabrics. When you're working with things like plaids, you want to make sure that those grain lines line up with your pattern pieces. It's always more helpful to have that for a good fit and for a good design. Okay, and other things too, like interfacing and things like that. We'll get to those things as we are flowing through making our pajama pants. But just know, general directions are good to go over and review when you get your pattern and you open that up and go over your guide sheet. The next section would be the items layout on your fabric. There you see listed all of the most efficient ways to lay your pattern pieces out on your fabric. And then the last section are the the sewing directions. Sewing directions can be thought of as like turn-by-turn action, like you would get when you're using your navigation in the car. You're gonna see in the sewing directions an actual step-by-step guide with lists of illustrations, with also illustrations just beside each step, which is really helpful when you're putting those pieces together. Everything will make sense one way or another. Is that upside down? No. One way or another, you'll get it from reading it or from seeing it, or both. They tend to reinforce each other. So that's it for the four general parts of your guide sheet. One helpful tip before I let you go is to remember to wash and dry and iron your materials before you cut your things out. That's helpful because when you wash things, especially flannels, sometimes there's some shifting that's going on with those fabric threads that will cause it to fit differently after that first wash. So get that first wash on out of the way and then cut your pattern out. All right, so join me next time. We'll talk about adjusting the pattern as we are pinning the pieces down and getting that cut out. We're getting closer and closer to getting to the sewing machine, but it's really important to take these few steps to actually read through your guide sheet and then make your necessary adjustments before you begin to sew. All right? So that's it for this time. Thanks so much for joining me, and take care. I'll see you next time.